Hello. Yesterday I was talking about language families, and I'm going to start these videos. I mentioned that I would talk about the Indo-European family first. Now, that family is a large family, a very large family, and it has lots of different branches to it, so lots of different little families within it. So just keep in mind that Indo-European is the main one, that's the main family, the biggest one in Europe, and that has little families within it. And today I'm going to begin with explaining a little bit, just in a simple way, about the Romance group of the Indo-European languages. Let's start with that. So we have Latin. Everybody knows Latin, knows about Latin. Italian, Romanian. Now Romanian is probably my favorite out of this group here. Spanish, everyone knows that. Catalan and Galician. Catalan and Galician are separate languages to Spanish, but they're spoken in Spain. They're spoken in Spain in certain regions. Catalan, they're both related to Spanish because they're in this group, but they're considered uh, separate languages. They're even given official recognition. So we have Catalan and Galician. Catalan, um, in terms of vocab, shares a lot of similarities with French and Northern Italian dialects, even a little bit, and even with Spanish to a certain degree. And then we have Galician, which is another language spoken in, here we go, let me find the thing. Galician is spoken in Spain, and it's a separate language with its own official status, and sometimes, I mean, it has a lot of similarities with Portuguese as well, I think. Then we have Portuguese, we have French, we have Corsican and Sicilian and Sardinian. So Portuguese and French, they're main languages. Everybody knows them. And then we have sorry, let me get it. We have Corsican. Corsican is spoken on the island of Corsica, which now belongs to France. It's still an official language, I think, along with French in Corsica. But Corsican is actually very similar to some Italian dialects because Corsica used to be part of Italy a long time ago. So it's actually got a lot in common with Tuscan dialects spoken in central Italy. I think it is considered also a Tuscan dialect, as well as also being considered a French, yeah, a separate language, yeah, as well. So it has a lot of Italian speakers wouldn't have too much problem understanding Corsican. So that's the language. Then we have Sicilian. Now, Sicilian is interesting because it once used to be a very prestigious language, very prestigious, spoken in Sicily, the south of Italy. It's still spoken today to a much lesser degree. Most Sicilians speak more Italian than they speak Sicilian these days, unfortunately. So it's been reduced to a dialect, but in my opinion, it's still a prestigious language. It's still a language in its own way. All dialects are. But it's not given the same status that Corsican or Catalan or Galician is given. So it's up to you to decide, I guess. But it's still spoken by some people. And then we have Sardinian. Now, Sardinian is different to Sicilian. They're both spoken in Italy, but Sardinian is considered a separate language and given official status in Sardinia. So we have Sardinian and Italian spoken in Sardinia. So it's actually a separate language. And it shares more similarities with other languages like Spanish and even Portuguese, and maybe to some extent Catalan. So it's not so much like Italian, but it does share, yeah, it's not very much like Italian, but it does share some similarities with it. So that's an official language. Sardinian is a language, Corsican is a language, French is a language, Portuguese, Romanian is related to Italian and Latin and all the others. Romanian is interesting because not many people know this, but it is a Romance language like these. I mean, some people already know that, it's basic knowledge, but it shares a lot of similarities with Italian, and even shares more similarities with Latin than other Romance languages do, because it has actually retained a lot of the old, more complex grammatical features. It's kept them. Like, it's a bit like Latin in terms of its grammar. It's kept more of the, it's more conservative in the sense that it's kept its old style grammar, whereas Italian has lost the majority of that. Italian is not as much of an inflectional language as Romanian or Latin is. So Romanian is special in this group because it's kept that all the characteristics from Latin, whereas all these other languages in here have not really kept these things. Actually, almost not at all. So they're easier to learn, I guess, grammatically than Romanian. But Romanian is interesting because of where it's spoken. It shares particularly similar vocab similarities with Italian, grammatical similarities with Latin, and it's also borrowed words from other languages, from Slavic languages and from Turkish, obviously, and even Hungarian, their neighbouring country. But it has nothing to do with these languages. Nothing to do with Hungarian, and nothing to do with Slavic languages or Turkish either. Yeah, it's actually, people believe that it's a Slavic language. It's not, but it has borrowed a lot of vocab over the years, so it's quite interesting to hear. So that's it for this group. I'll make another video talking about another Indo-European family. I think I'll go with the Germanic next. Ciao, grazie.